and stuff, and I think it's all good. Let me see. Okay. All right, this is unofficially going on, right? I hope Eric is here helping me out with figuring out whether it works. Oh, hello, Mike. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? This is like what you see here is a very nice setup. It looks very influencer and very magenta and cyan, but you have no idea how much chaos is in this room. Everything is being torn over and packed and redone. So I think I've set it up nicely. You gotta be pretty patient with me because I'm not sure things are gonna work the way it's intended. But so far I managed to go live, which is nice, and I think you can hear me. There's a chat here. I have a second screen, so I can read what you write, given the latency and delay. So, all right, this is awesome to know by Eric that we got sound and pick. So I even have a starting soon thing, you know, I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use it. Do we do it? Do we do it? All right, look, I push a button and we go to starting soon. Look at this, boom. Okay, we're back. I had to show you my super starting soon screen because it's just unbelievably cool. It's got some of the best testimonials that place me like that high ranked in the industry and stuff, and it was quite fun to make. I remember we talked about it and I was like, oh, this is a good idea. So look at that, like everything is really working in a room that has cables floating from the ceiling and stuff, which you can't see because I prepared it so that everything looks cool. But the drama is all around outside the frame, right? So we're here. We're gonna start right now because we're here and we're gonna do it. And what happens today is we're here to do mixing with KIT plugins, right? KIT Plugins is a brand. They make audio plugins and we're gonna use most of their stuff, if not all of it. I don't know if I have all of them, but they came out with a new plugin called the N73, which is an AMS NIV 1073 console channel strip from very old stuff that Neve used to do, because believe it or not, the 1073 is pretty rare to see in an entire console unless you get the new stuff. But in the old era, it's quite rare, at least in my case, to see a full-fledged 1073 console. The cool thing is that I actually now have a second screen. Hey Doug, how you doing? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. It's great. We're all here. This is really fun. And again, there's again and again and again, there's like cables everywhere and darkness all around this place. But in the frame that I am here, it's actually pretty fun, because doing this stuff, I have a second screen where I can see myself, which is nice, and I can read your chat better than I would normally do with the phone and stuff. So I actually increased the quality level while ripping this room apart. So this is really nice. For those of you who don't know, why is this chaos happening? I am moving from Berlin to Munich, and we are building a new room there as well. It's gonna be my boutique studio as composer and producer. I am not gonna work as a third-party engineer for mixing, just 100% there. There's still gonna be gigs in which I'm gonna work as for engineering for other people, but it's mostly gonna be 100% focused on composing and pitching songs to film companies and video game developers, living the nightmare of that. But I also, I'm going to produce stuff. I'm not gonna go back to working a lot as third-party engineer. So not a lot of recording, and people say like, this is my record, would you record it, would you mix it, would you master it? I'm gonna produce people, probably things I like. So I'm gonna put money down and produce people, then I'm gonna do it pretty much the way I want. But the days of this is what I want you to do and I don't even know and blah are gone. I don't have time to do all of that. So I want to choose, and I want to keep going what I've been doing for the past 3 years now mostly, which is composing, right? So we're gonna have a very nice room in which we can also meet personally, and we can do creative workshops there. I would really love for you to be in the room for like 5 days or a week and take a song from the first notes to the end part. And these workshops would be really, really cool. And okay, right. I'm reading the chat sometimes, just so. In Munich, I've been. All right. Okay. This is Mike, because Mike is writing in Norse. That's amazing. Having the chat near here feels completely different in terms of connection. So this is really, really nice. But to keep on going, this is gonna happen within, gonna be completed in a couple months, I would say. So that's why you're seeing nothing behind me. Still have my computer and some of the stuff, but most of the things are getting packed. Half of the things are already there, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna track how the studio is made, how I want to like place panels and stuff, and the acoustics and the speakers, and why I choose positioning and things. But it's going to be mostly my place in which I have lots of keyboards and the gear I have, everything packed there, and lots of cameras as well I want to put, because I want to do creative workshops also online. So we're going to use synthesizers and things to just explore the synths and things. It's going to be nice. I think it's really going to go towards more of what was requested in the past year, which is less engineering and more of a degree of creative, right? More creating things, right? How can you engineer an idea if you don't have the idea first and foremost, and if you don't put it into some kind of structure, right? So today, we're going to use KT plugins, as I was saying. We are gonna mix with headphones. I have my DT880 Pro, so, it's gonna be this challenge. We're gonna do it with headphones. And the track I have is actually Mike's, Mike Reynolds here in the chat. He's a patron of mine, starting with me, and he sent me this dub techno song. This track we are gonna use by trying to concentrate on a specific direction. We're gonna try and fit a scenario in which the video game developers we're working with said that this song, along with others from other artists, could work. We have a good shot at pitching it, but it needs to sound a little bit closer to the common tone of the compilation. So indie game developers usually don't have an audio lead who does also the engineering and production. So they will not be able to mix your stuff. They will not be able to master your stuff. You have to provide them with the finished product. If you are unable to get straight to the ending line and give them the WAV file that they can either rip whatever the game engine wants to do or place it in a cut scene, you will have a worse chance of getting in the gig, right? Because the other people are providing the finished thing and your things don't sound right. The indie game developer doesn't really know, it just knows that it doesn't sound right. End of the game, right? So we're gonna pitch it in a way that I have a specific idea in mind, and also I have a specific reference in mind. So, I see a question which I'm gonna answer right soon. So we're gonna take the reference I have and we're gonna do it as well. And this reference is not actually a song that we're gonna listen to, is a tonal control from Isotope profile from a record, whatever, which I think is close enough to this, but not the closest. Like, we gotta work towards it. So first and foremost, it's a video in which I love to use KIT plugins, but I am not working for KIT plugins. I'm not doing stuff. I don't get money from them. They have been incredibly helpful in extending demos and making it possible for me to do this. So kudos to them. But the people who are gonna show you everything about the plugin and stuff are maybe other people. And also the videos in which I'm gonna use just their products so that you don't see any competition and stuff, I don't care. If they're a good brand, they shouldn't care, because nobody is gonna make a record or a video game soundtrack with just their plugins. They're gonna use a plethora of plugins. So to keep things realistic, what I care about is to transfer to you part of a process that happens when you want to work as a video game composer. Do you really want to do that? Anyway, this involves a lot more stuff. So we're going to use plugins from KIT, of course. We're going to use Nuendo's internal plugins. Trust me, it's good stuff. Although I don't use it as much as I should, and it's really nice, it's gonna be a good chance. And then we're gonna use tonal balance control because it's our profile for referencing, right? So that's good. Savnes Music wrote, "Hey Alberto, hey Savnes, you had a couple of videos about making those like Hollywood studio environments. These were a great deal. Are you planning to upload them again?" I'm planning to do more of those in a live stream. So when I'm done building the new room in a couple months or whatever, it could be early, but you know, I don't want to just spoil myself and say, yeah, tomorrow and stuff. We're going to do more, absolutely. Those videos were available for free publicly. Then they are now Patreon only. They took a great deal of time to do them and stuff. So for those of you who don't know, I have a Patreon that I also run for people to support my projects and things. And you pay €9 per month and you get tons of videos, like those Hollywood studios alone, and Sound City videos, and the mastering desk, create your own virtual mastering desks are, I think, together over 10 hours, close to 10 hours, maybe 2, 4, well, maybe no, maybe like 6, 8 hours. And with €9 you get tons of it. It's like hundreds now of videos, I think, or maybe not hundreds, but I calculated there's over 100 hours, I think. It was a lot. We managed to calculate that. Then you get presets, you get sessions, you get comparison WAV files in which we do analog gear, plugins, comparisons, and all that stuff. And I think, personally, the best part is the Discord server, in which you can take your time and be overwhelmed, because sometimes you write there all the time. But there's a lot of human contact. So I like to think of that as a virtual music school in which we are together And so that stuff is still available. It's just all moved there. Am I gonna do more stuff live that is like free like this? Absolutely yes. In fact, you can actually support the channel here just by getting a €3 per month subscription. That will give you none of the exclusive videos, which is horrible. And I am gonna reinstate that again and again and again. You should probably get on the €9 one. Obviously, I'm biased as much as possible, but you can get in with the €3 thing and say like, all right, this is my support, your channel is great, and there's gonna be tons of videos there. I can tell you right off the bat that while you're watching this is I'm gonna tell you the videos that I already recorded, and I think I'm digressing, but this is actually important. I've done a bass lane pro video for what is Tone Projects, Rune, and intending that video for sound design stuff. I've done Liquid Sonic's cinematic rooms, insane. I've done an analysis of a musical sketch I've done. So there's a musical sketch for a video game soundtrack that I am analyzing because some of you ask like, can we see the plugins you had there? So yes, there's a Battle of the Shimmers. This is insane. I've tracked already like 8 videos. I'm probably forgetting some. Battle of the Shimmers is we take 8, I think 6 or 8 reverb plugins plus the Strymon Big Sky, this dude here, this one, right? Boy, that looks nice. I'm an influencer. Don't buy stuff just because I say that. Don't listen to this camera. So I got a lot of toys here that I could just showcase. It looks really, really good. So those videos are gonna be, some of them are gonna be free, others are more extended and they're gonna be Patreon only. I personally think €9 per month, although I do not wanna like give money for granted because the times we're living in are insane. So to say €9 a month is nothing, you will never hear me say, because trust me, I understand. You know, I have a lot of people I work with here in Berlin who are silver lining every euro they pay to a righteous extent, because why would you want to waste money? But I think we're really going over any detail of plugins. I'm really proud of what I made. Obviously, I mean, it's my stuff, right? So that's that. But there's also gonna be tons of videos that are gonna be on YouTube. I plan on streaming regularly from the new room, getting more cameras. The cyan magenta lights are here, so I'm automatically a pro influencer and a cyberpunk dude. But also we're gonna do synth exploration videos, the hardware ones. What I wanna do is just place a camera on the Nord lead, for example. I don't know, but you know, naming one, or the Prophet or the Moog Voyager or the synths I have and synths I'm gonna buy soon, unfortunately, because you know I'm reinvesting for better or worse. So that stuff is gonna get explored in a sense that we're just gonna jam with them, just gonna talk about why I like the synth and all that stuff. And I think it's gonna be nice because I don't want to push to you how I would make a song, but we're gonna use that platform to say, what do I hear on the Nord lead? Why would I choose this? What would it fit? Instead of saying, we must make a song for a soundtrack. We must make music to this video clip. It's a little bit too intense and people are gonna get intimidated by it. I don't want people to be intimidated because that's the last thing we need in how hard it is to feel, you know, comfortable with composing and songwriting. So I just want to take a synthesizer and we're just going to play with it, and I'm going to tell you why I like it and stuff. And then while we're playing that with effects, I'm sure ideas will come. And then I will stop and say, well, this would be awesome for this scene. And I'm going to design and describe the scene I would see through music, because I usually need to build the visual representation the opposite way. I don't get pictures. I get them from the music, but it has to be a defined picture from what I hear in the music. Some people like to see a picture and write the music. I do kind of the opposite. That's it. So, enough. There's gonna be a lot of stuff. So, Savnev, thanks for asking. I did like a shameless plug of 15 minutes, but the live stream today is a crossroad between the old and the new. The room here is, as nice as it is, it's all half empty and pure chaos because I'm moving, you know, the studio. So with this in mind, what we should do now is we should listen to Mike's song, right? And we're gonna just take his song and change the things we need to make it closer to the reference that the video game developers kind of asked us to do, right? So what I can do here is make myself smaller, still obnoxious in talk, but smaller in picture. That's a ready start. And you are going to also witness the amazing old age of Alberto in using Nuendo, which is a, sort of an ASMR thing. It's relaxing how slow I am on this platform because I'm constantly afraid to mess something up, and it's actually feeling really good to not speed things. I am getting ready for my third age, people. And I'm getting ready at 42, almost. But you should prepare in advance. You shouldn't just overdo that. So we're gonna have lots of issues here, but just so, not because the song is wrong, but because it's just, there's a lot of things to do. We got kicks, overheads, hi-hat, I think, percussion. Let me just kick, overheads, then this is CH, perk, shaker, sub, top bass, Rs chord, I'm gonna tell you what it is, chord 2, chord 3, dub pad, field, white noise 2, white noise 1, all right? Okay, we move this guy here. Awesome, so these are the tracks. And this is what it sounds like. I don't even know if there's a beginning here. Yeah, oh well, there is. Sometimes there's just silence and stuff. So we're gonna go back to, I don't even remember how, right, I do remember actually. I didn't set the BPMs, I didn't do anything. I'm gonna press play and help me God, I hope you get audio because I've set up the studio room. But it's gonna work, trust me. I'm a pro. All right, so it's working, and it's repeating, obviously, because it's this kind of track. So hello, my name. We got lots of people in here getting into the chat, and we are going to just analyze this in 2 seconds. I have 2 things to say. First and foremost, the tonal band control, it's a hard name to say, is based on a reference album, not a reference track. So a lot of people I know struggle with this when you build your own references and you do single tracks. But actually, I'm better, and I often get compilation references from the audio people and even the developers themselves who also are into audio development for games. References that are broader in range, not just one single track. Sometimes you might get a couple tracks down together, but it's usually more a wider scenario. So first and foremost, for those of you struggling with tonal balance control, one single reference might force you to just try and adjust stuff. Second of all, just don't fight it. I got close to the reference itself just by rebalancing the volumes, but there's things I want to do that are probably going to change the sound, affect it and stuff. So it sounds nice. The R scored is a blend of samples that I captured for Mike from my Juno 6, and then he made it into an instrument, and it sounds really good, and it's the feature of the actual song, I think, like the way it is. So it's got a very nice science fiction, some kind of retro wave, future wave. Dub techno is really popular nowadays for, in the recent, I would say even 5 years, for games itself. So what I wanted to say, which actually Eric anticipated, is that the audio that I've set here compared to what I'm saying is, this is actually really great for what Eric said. He said, like, could you balance Vox and other audio because it almost blew my speakers out. That is part, I mean, I hope I didn't blow speakers out of you people, but we're mixing with headphones, and mixing with headphones has a lot of, perils. First off, have you noticed the level of the track? The level of the track would be close to 0 dBFS. It's a really loud print from single tracks. And with speakers, it's easier to balance, but with the headphones, it gets even harder to counterbalance, because you are going to need to feel this loudness in your headphones to know you're kind of very, very loud. But if you do that, you risk damaging your ears, and you shouldn't do that. So if you keep the voice level at where I am right now, I will do it soon. Yes, my name, don't worry. This one is really, my vocal level is a lot closer to the levels you should probably print this at. But because I am actually listening to this stuff really loud, we could, for the sake of the stream, offset it. I'm already giving you -12, right? You can see it in my control room. If I were to keep it at 0, it would be incredibly loud here. So to keep the physical loudness there and to be close to what the levels are, it's much harder to do on headphones. So we have to create an offset that makes it comfortable to us to do it. The first thing I'm gonna do, however, is not to drop your level there, because if I drop your level to the stream, you're gonna notice that when I'm gonna gain stage, do the mix leveling thing, as my name said, it's gonna be much harder for us to get the music, because the music will be lower than my voice. So the first thing I would do, and this has to do with N73, is to gain stage the song. Just probably drop it some kind of minus whatever, 12, 13, something like that. I'm gonna select all of the tracks right now, or all of the clips by hand, like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I can count 14, 13, 14. There's 14 tracks, and we're gonna drop it -12. So now I'm gonna press play in the chorus, and we're gonna compensate through the clip gain to know if my voice is actually feeling nice. So I'm just gonna end the talk and you're gonna just get whatever, like a little snippet of this in here. Like this part sounded pretty intense already. And this is me talking, and now let's press play. So now it's lower. In my headphones, this is really low right now. And in your stream, maybe now, because it dropped 12, it's closer to what it should be somehow, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go 0 here, and I've lost the 12 that I had, right? So it's gonna be louder for me and for you. So it's actually nulling the 12 that I've done. So to compensate this, I'm gonna go -12 on your stream. So we nullified the difference, right? So hopefully it has to be loud enough, but it doesn't have to destroy me, and now it has to be balanced for you. So for you, it becomes a 0. This again becomes incredibly important to do if you're mixing with headphones, because you don't have the loudness perception of speakers. Feels good. Could be a tad louder for me, maybe like a 3 dB or something. I think that 12 that I've generated with you, because I went -12 on the clips, 0 on the control room, and then I went -12 on you. So it's actually a -12 in the end, right? It should feel nice against my vocals now. But I wanted to do this live on stream because we approached like a 0 dBFS and it doesn't work. More importantly, and we're getting into the plugin now, if you take a look at span here, and you take a look at N73, and you take a look at a test generator that we're gonna use at 1 kilohertz, and we're gonna go -6. What I want to do is to mute this track so that when I engage the test generator, we don't get this constant ringing in our ears, right? So N73 is really simple. You've got a master fader for the channel. You've got hum if you want to have the hum. You see 1, 2, 3 in increasing factors. You got meters. You can have different colors of the fader, continuously non-stepped knobs, auto gain compensation, and then there's the central part. We're just gonna, it's really, really simple if you've used the N105, for example, the B105, because it's pretty much the same setup. EQ on off, you can turn off phase, you have a high pass, low, mid, high frequencies, and then the preamp knob, which is turning itself on when you have a mic sort of impedance selected. With a line, you can't move it. Saturation is green on and red off. Why am I showing you these with Voxengo span? I'm gonna demonstrate why. You see at the top, you got 2 controls, input and output, right? And you see it's set at -6. So let's take these and go to -12 on the test generator, and let's go to 0 on the input and output. So this is the plugin in completely flat mode. There's nothing going on, okay? Look at Voxengo span. Let's go realistically to somewhere around, I don't know, -96, and let's go maybe a bit higher here for 500 hertz, all right? So we got a zoomed in factor. I'm gonna keep increasing the signal we're close to -3. Look what happens when I pass -3. All right, we got signal. So if we scale these down and back again, you see that when I go past -3.6, so -3.5, -3.6, right off. -3.6 is the limit at which you are going to get internal clipping of the plugin. I don't know if this was intended, but this is something that in analog would probably in the console happen a lot before -3.5 dBFS, because this is really loud for analog preamplifier, really loud. Now, most plugins don't have these, like they go to 0 and then they clip. This thing is saturating at the moment, at this version 1.0, at minus 3.5 dBFS. It's giving you a saturation that could be intended or not. It's just good to know that it's there. So if you have a full scale signal and you go minus 3.6 here, you're compensating for it and you don't have it, right? If you output this, you don't have it until you clip the output, right? But the input is tricky because of that. So that's one more reason to not have the tracks completely overblown and loud into this, unless you really want to have it. So you can do two things. You either gain stage your song or you gain stage the plugin itself. You could compensate with a safer, I don't know, even minus 12, for example, and then you go plus 12 on the output. That's okay. What happens if I go minus 6, 6? Pretty much same levels, right? There's a little bit of whatever, like harmonics there, but they're really low, like below minus 96, so it's not really the color of the thing. If you go microphone and you start increasing things, then you get all sorts of color and stuff, especially if we could give ourselves like a minus 12, and we go cranking these up and you see there's harmonics, and then we clip again and we get distortion that is not intended to be 100% what the console would have, because hell breaks loose once you go into analog gear really loud. So that's a digital representation of it, but I think it's clipping the signal in a way that might not be what we want. So you can gain stage these at minus 12 or plus 12. Remember, however, that the output fader is showing you the uncompensated one. So I wish they kind of had it different, in a sense that if I go plus 12 here, the output meter doesn't actually change because it's internally rescaling, or that the input probably rescales differently in a way that the meters can tell me something with a full compensation, right? And even maybe a link with the two knobs, that would work. That would be nice. The master bus, a lot of people have asked, like, what is master bus? It's the simulation of the harmonics of your console, of the compressor on the console. It doesn't compress, as far as I heard, but it creates that mojo of the master bus channel, and it gives you that level of the master bus as well in the center. Just things to consider, right? If you see the meter that is approaching the number minus 5 on the input, remember what I said. It's a lot of that. Now, Doug asks a very good question, like, how do you see that you're clipping the plugin, right? How do I see that? I see it because of the shape of how it's happening here. So I go, you don't really see it on the meters, you see it on span, because if I go minus 4 from a 0 signal, we're kind of still in the same, but when I do minus 3.4, you see all hot harmonics going up, and then you see aliasing going down. Again, it could be intended behavior in the sense that once you're getting there, it clips down, but if it was saturation on the analog gear, I probably would see it with my gear going up gradually, not just exploding after a value. So to me, it looks like the internal signal is clipping its 0 at minus 3.4. Not a big deal if you got tracks that don't hit there, but in this case, it's a perfect example because our kick before calibrating the session would go at 0, close to 0 dBFS. So if you instantiate these on a signal that is full scale, because maybe it's normalized, you will get these things, which is mostly what? Third order harmonics coming up, typical of maybe transformer stuff. It doesn't sound bad. We're gonna probably make use of this, but know this. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying know the plugin, because if this was your console, you should know it, right? So a lot of people are going to instantiate stuff, put it on loud. No, the first thing I wanted to tell you is keep this in mind. When you see it going past -5 on the input, remember you're gonna have saturation. Even if you turn saturation off, you're gonna have it. If you go on microphone impedance, it's still the same. It could happen that it's even more because usually it's a tad louder, I think. That's pretty much it. So if you don't compensate, like your plugin is 0 and 0, and you have a signal as -3.7, it's all good, right? And it's stepping down the same. But if you go past -3.4, the third order harmonics just jump up. Good to know, or no. It's the pattern, it's, yes, like obviously, Doug says it's the pattern of the aliasing that gives that. Well, obviously because you're increasing the third order harmonics so much, by the time you're hitting the boundary of Nyquist, the red line vertical you see on span, you're gonna have a bounce back for sure. And it's more about how predictable this was and the fact that it's just jumping up at -3.4 and at -3.5 it doesn't do it, that I said, this is, I don't know. You know, we should ask Kit plugins, I don't know. And again, it doesn't sound bad. And I'm thinking the aliasing might get reduced if we go, we can see the bounce back because it's coming down here like a stairwell in 3D. We go options, we go high, and it's cleaner. You see how that is, right? You got second order harmonic here, third order harmonic here. It could be the transformer emulation or something when you want to clip the plugin. It could be something that KIT did deliberately, right? And if we go low, see how junkier that is, right? It's a lot more staggered, a lot of needles and stuff. We're getting like really anal on it, but I think I'm gonna use medium anyway. You know, we don't need that much. We're talking about, look at that, -144, right? Pretty much. So even lower. So remember, if you're at 24 bits, you only have 144 bits. So that would be even below what you can actually describe. Just, you know, but it sounds up. And so it might get to a level when you want it. You don't want it to be. So could be that. This is super important. The rest we gotta do by ear. But what I wanted to confront you with is remember that if you have very loud tracks, you could just gain stage here. It's great to have it. Or just don't be that loud, right? Or do it in a way that, you know, it works for you. Then you recompensate the meter on the output. The meter will change, but actually it will not reflect how louder you are. Because if we go -12 and we go 12, the signal's actually unity gain, but the meters are skewed somehow. And they, in my opinion, it shouldn't be, but the way the output's displaying, it's before the actual, it's actually after the output trim. That's what I was saying. I would probably would not want the output trim to be visualized by the output, but maybe only the master fader. I'm giving developer sort of like freedom to KIT. You know, everybody's different. But because we have some nice visual representations, you know, it would be good to have. The other thing is, again, remember that when the red is on saturation, it's not microphone saturation, it's off red, green on. Last thing I wanted to reinstate, because I've made that mistake. So, absolutely. So see, 3.6, oh, sorry, -3.6, no problem. -3.5, problem. -3.55, almost no problem. So within a range of like half a dB or a dB, you're going that much up. I'm thinking I'm gonna use it for some sounds, just to screw them up. But that's good to know. Let's get these out of our minds and let's just remove the tone generator, these and the span and stuff. I've set just a breakable limiter at -0.2 so we don't explode. And now we're gonna start mixing it for sure. So what I would like to do is change the tone of how these tracks sound to me. So let's just do it and just get this part here. I think it could be a little bit denser somehow. It's not driving the way I want, and I actually want this to be pumping a little bit. So I've done a couple things as a test before the stream, and I'm gonna show you what I've done. These are the inserts here on the kick. Okay, then I've got compressor. So let's listen to this part. I like it. I like where it is. You know, it's no problem. But we can make it a little bit more dense and nice at lower volumes as well. Doug asks, like, you just turning on the EQ will give us some saturation, it seems. A little bit, but it doesn't really bring up the harmonics that much. But definitely if you go saturation off, then it becomes a clean harmonic, and this is emphasized if you go microphone. So yes, if you go mic saturation, it's really gonna reshape the sound. The line is still fairly clean, I would say, but then obviously when you put it in the big picture, I think there's a little bit of thing. But it's in line level, it's still fairly clean as a Neve 1073 intervention. It doesn't over mojo stuff, which I think it's kind of good. I mean, KIT plugins have been said to be too clean. For some people, there's not enough mojo. I think, you know, they're workable. And what people are gonna hate from this mix is that we're not gonna use the N73 on rock music, like something you would imagine a Neve console to be used, right? A very old school country song or singer-songwriter. No, we're gonna use dub techno, and it's gonna work anyway, right? So first and foremost, let me try and get this to be a little bit maybe louder here, right off the bat, right? Okay, so what I've done is I've taken my Sound Blaster audio card, it's like a card I have, really nice, for example, and I've moved my volume here without actually affecting how you are listening to it. I wasn't hearing the cans too strong, and I don't want to have to be compensating for volume I'm missing here. Again, I have to be careful, because 4 hours mixing through cans, it's gonna kill you probably, and it's gonna give you ringing in your ears for a lot. So first thing to do is, how have I routed stuff? Look at the tracks. The browns are partly low, part high, part mid. So instead of having drums, bass, keys, SFX, and effects, I have low, mid, high. So the pink buses, that's why I turn them pink, because you can't unsee them, are the buses that I'm using. So the low one is L, the mid one is mid, and H is high. I've used arrows with, you know, characters because it makes it a little bit easier to see. If you use M as in mid and H as in high, it's gonna be hard to see whether it's an M or an H. So that way you see low, like left, high, right, and mid is in between, all right? So 3 buses. And it doesn't matter if it's a drum piece or a sub piece, it's actually low, mid, highs. So for this genre, I think it works a little bit better, especially if somebody's giving you tonal references, but I don't do low, mid, slow, high, mid, high. You see, just it's too much. And let's try and give this track a pumping sense, a little bit of vibe. And what I've done is just getting a core compressor on the mids, and I had something else here, like compressor maybe? Yes. Okay, so KIT plugins don't have sidechain. Big problem for the moment, but their compressors are more colored compressors. So, right, this is kind of their thing. They might add sidechain, they don't have it at the moment here that I could see. So the first thing I wanna do is, we're gonna have to have this thing dancing. It's not dancing. If it's not dancing, it's preventing me from feeling the song. Where am I picturing this? Some kind of science fiction dark scenario, I don't know, like streets, alleys, a cafe, I don't know, like whatever. Like I'm hearing the greasy, rainy, walking alone with lots of people, but alone inside kind of person, right? And I want that to be something that can be put in the background for this video game. If we don't have enough density and people put the volume low in their headphones or speakers in the game, you lose the vibe of the music. So we gotta compress somehow. I want to feel the air. I don't feel enough mid density, but I like the darkness of the kick, but I want to be a little bit spikier there. So I want to sidechain the kick with the mid frequencies because that's nice. It's probably gonna work. What I had come up with was this, but we're gonna redo it because I don't even know if I like it anymore. So I put the sidechain for the sand into the mids, and this is my sidechain at the moment, right? So how would I do this if we just mess this up? Analysis to peak. Soft knee for whatever reason. I'm gonna start with like 4-1 or something like that. Very fast attack and very fast release. We're gonna drop the threshold. We're gonna hear the mids pump against the kick itself, because the kick is the signal and it's pushing down the mids, right? So auto makeup is fine. Soft knee I like here, but hear me out. This is horrible. Don't do it. But it's giving you the idea of how much we're clinching on the sound itself, right? So the magic of the people I've learned to the sidechaining thing from in these genres, because I rarely do it. I rarely do it in my stuff, but this demands that there's just no way, is the art of attack, release, and hold sometimes against the ratio. So your ratio is your amount of vibe, and the shape, the color, the feeling is really the attack and release. So what I would do is still keep these on peak. Let's try and make it a little bit nicer. The most important stuff is that we bite on the signal and we go attack release. We hear it when it's musical, right? It really has to have, I remember talking about this, it really has to have a sort of, it has to make you dizzy somehow. It has to have a sort of a mesmerizing effect, especially on headphones. I think this is really good. So let's try before and after. Hear how it's too easy without. It's just like giving you all the tracks, like here, boom. You know, it's not pushing things around. The hold is really interesting if you have it on compressors. I think for sidechaining is probably the most interesting thing. We could play with peak and RMS just to wing it, but I think it's mostly a matter of ratio, pushing down the threshold, and the numbers. Now I've liked it a little bit more aggressive. Let's keep going and do a before and after. So I'm starting before and then I engage it. This. Now 7.1 I read it, right? Because I set it up. I stayed so much on like 3 to 10, 5, and then I was like 7.1 has that kick kind of thing. Now why would you okay, Doug has said, are you compressing with the KIT compressor before the innuendo now? Yes, but it's bypassed. Yes, but it's bypassed. So Doug is going one step further. That's the trick. That's the trick. Because this, you think this is the joke, right? And it's not the joke. The joke's coming after. So, you know, it's for a good luck. It comes more alive with the side chaining. Absolutely. Now, why would you want to have attack on the side chain? Because for 7.1 milliseconds, the mids are with the kick. and then they get held down, and then they get held down, and then they release. We created some sort of a rectangular shape. It's a bit harder, I would say, like it's less smooth for sure, but this genre, the way I want to do it, there's that machine thing, right? It's in the future. There's that science fiction thing. I don't know. It's something for these. The game wants that kind of grinding machine, a rectangular effect. It's a little bit more mechanic. That's the term. That's the word I wanted to use. It's a little bit more mechanic, but it feels great to me. And there's a lot of references of music that I listen to from the 90s and stuff that has this, because back then you didn't have that much flexibility in the parameters. So it's now a sound. So 7.1 milliseconds attack, the kick with the mids are together, then the compressor pushes down, the mids go down. It's kind of giving us the effect of getting a punch in the chest. It's like, oh, the air goes away from your lungs, and without getting hit, because we're not violent people. But it's that effect, that oomph, and it gives the idea that there's a deeper sense of feeling in the whole atmosphere. But now we're gonna keep this dude in here because we're gonna do compression before. And I've used core compressor. We're gonna re-tailor it. What we wanna do now is compress the mids so that they are sort of pillowing around the atmosphere. And I haven't even mixed anything yet. This is such a game changer, which is a term you hear a lot in the influencer world, right? So let's redo this. Although, look at how it's put. It's really easy, right? They're looking, it's like 2-1 halfway through the mix, and body, because this compressor has body and stuff. But let's reset everything. Let's do a B thing. And hold on, because this is now complicated here, all right? Let's do A to B. So we still have B in case we want it. Forget about the compressor. This compressor is placed mysteriously before the compression of the kick drum, the one we did, this one. So it doesn't make sense to compress it before. It does. It just creates a different scenario for the material to be pushed down. So let's reset it like this, right? And initially you could do like 100% thing, but it just doesn't matter that much. You want kind of a milder compress. You don't want to be mechanic now. You want to be smooth. Easily too much, right? This way. But you then ease it out with the mix. I hear where it is, and it's giving everything that sort of like a trance feel. It makes me dizzy, and headphones are awesome for that. I like to mix that way. There's one instrument, which is the field recording, which I hear going up and down because it's a field recording. It sounds like this. This one might be something that we want to put away from this. I would probably put it to all effects, because or maybe all sound effects, which still goes to mix. So we don't have all drums. I'm just gonna hide them because it makes it easier. We don't have all drums. We don't have all snares, all kicks. We don't have all bass, all keys, but we're gonna use all S effects for sure, because it makes it possible for us to just direct something somewhere else. So now it doesn't pump anymore because it doesn't go in the mids, right? We could call it mid 2 if we want. We could create another one and call it mid 2, whatever. All S effects goes to mix as well. So sometimes I like to do this, like move it here. So now we have that green dude in here, which we can make pink again. And we still have the package, right, of that. So Doug said, these are all good questions. I mean, why would I do it live, right? He says, sorry for being eager, Beaver. What do you listen for when you tweak the KIT compressor? The best answer I can give you is I listen for that vibe that I heard in a lot of music that I am aiming to make this mix sound like. Which is A, I think I got the English right because it's a super complicated sentence. B, it's a feeling thing. I've used these headphones a lot like speakers. It's an environment in which I've listened to a lot of music, and there's that vibe. It has to vibe like the music I'm aiming at, the style I'm aiming at. It's like a late 90s electronic music made in the 2000s. This is probably the best I could give you. Something made in 2005, 10, 8, 2, but that is reminiscent of the late 90s, right? So not 100% late 90s. Now, what if I had to describe it? It's more of I can hear more of the detail of the interactions of all the scenes. There's more information being present there and being more like a denser crust of the cake in which we can scoop things out. So I'm building a sort of a higher cake of mid frequencies, and we can scoop with the kick side chain in. Before it was a little bit shallow, that's the term, and it wouldn't create very nicely drawn scoops with the spoon. That's how now we're all hungry. It's still early, but we're gonna get there. So 2 plugins. Done. No, it's absolutely not done, but definitely this has a vibe for it. It addressed something. I'm gonna press play and listen to it just in case, because I hope, we sort of fixed it somehow by taking the field recording out. Let me erase this. I can tell you right off the bat that it's instantly pushing me and making me dizzy in my headphones. I can hear that right thing, that the kick is just making me dizzy. That's the best. I remember that was the thing, like it has to make it you even more dizzy than you are maybe in a club or something, especially if you got lots of low frequencies. Now, something I hear that could be better, let's check tonal control. Are we completely off our reference? Because the game developer said, I'm not gonna master it, I don't know how to do it, you do it, I don't have the budget, but please get in here. I found this great plugin, we use it, blah, 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 here, I'm gonna send you a profile. He did, and we have this. Are we totally outside? All right, we are, but we don't have the mids. Like you can't pretend that you're in balance when something is not really, your mix lacks low mids, because that's how it is. It's a different song. However, for the style in which I am, I would like to address the kick and make it, don't hate me, way less subby. Way less subby. And I need something smooth because I need to make it smoother. And what I want to transfer these on is to have a bit more of a smack in the kick. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to duplicate this kick. So let's do this. Take away tonal control, don't wing it by looking at it. I want to have less lows in the sub, which is also interesting for video game renditions. Oftentimes, people are very, very heavy on their hi-fi systems in game because they want subwoofers. You give them the right subwoofer, it will explode in their rooms. So first and foremost, we address these a tiny little bit, and then we make probably a second kick just to have a little bit more snap. And then I will talk about something probably nice, because this goes really sharp, and we can find harmonics that we like and define a more musical kick you don't even hear, but you feel. But I'm going ahead. Let's first clean some lows. Now it's really weird because you say, how can you do 30 hertz on these headphones? You can't do it. But there's a feeling in how the mix pumps. I mean, if you've listened to a lot of music that has low kicks, there's something. But I guarantee you you can't really hear 16 hertz, but it's a smoother filter. So I'm battled between 20 something and 40. So there has to be some sort of reference in the notes, because it's multiples. I'm just gonna find a solution and then decide for it. Maybe change part. Okay. Okay, I didn't want to bypass it. 27 hertz, that's it. We go with 27 hertz. Because I still want to hear my eardrums pump down. It's I don't know, it's just, it makes me dizzy the right way. Now we're gonna duplicate this. It doesn't make sense to tweak this dude too much. We're gonna duplicate this track, and we're gonna make a second kick, which is really, really pointy and doesn't have lows. Maybe I'm gonna have to compress it, overdo it, but hear me out where I wanna go here. Of course, remember, don't work on the track that you're not monitoring. All right, so this one has to go here, this one has to go here. I was still working on one and do that, right? Okay, so there we go. Kick D, which we're gonna call kick high. Check the name on the header, because the programmers of these DAWs, they're smart people. So if it says kick high, that's probably the kick. So always rename, do that. So now, again. This sounds good, doesn't have that that nose. And now we're gonna scout for frequencies that have a reference to the pitch, maybe of the song as well. This could be, let me find maybe this. It sounds good. Hey, Eric. All right, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thanks. This we don't want to do. So now, obviously, the volume's all over the place. Let me try and listen to both of these with some faders action. And let's get these away from the sidechain. We don't want it to sidechain 2 times. We just want the low part. Now, this kick will not go in the low, but it could. Because if there was one track, you wouldn't have any decision over it. It would be there. So I could break the rule and make it go low. Even if it's high frequencies we're generating. Because if it was one track, the kick, you couldn't split, right? So let me try just and introduce this. All right, that's a little bit too much, but hear me out. Here, how we're gonna do it. We make it surface quite a lot. And then now, on the water level, we play with the knobs here. Honestly, I already like it this way. Let me try and mute it and then solo it. That's it. And these things you really hear on headphones, so that's a plus. Now, do we want to compress? I actually got it really fast for some reason. So I kind of like it where it is. Let me hear how the song sounds without anything. Okay, I like this. Okay, let me try and compress this dude, maybe with core comp, which allows us to have a mix knob. I actually like this very much. How does it sound in the mix? It's gonna be too loud, of course. I like it, but we need an expander, which KT plugins doesn't do. So we're gonna use this. Right, so we make it very fast, no hold probably, and just some fall here. Ratio 1.4, whatever. Analysis peak, we want it to analyze just the peak. Okay, that's still, I wanted to make it feel in tempo. Without and with. I like this. What we could also do is have one kick without it, one with, or one with both, and then sometimes at the third one. But this is getting more into the production thing. Now you might say, this is so small. It's such a small change. You already kind of know the answer. Why are we doing this much work on this little part? It transfers to what you feel in the music, not what you really hear, although you hear it, you can hear it. Obviously now we're in solo, but you will hear it in the mix. It's such a different statement from the song, I think. And that's why these things, if the artist like Mike would have any saying in all of this, which he doesn't, because I'm pretending that I am mangling his song for the purpose of becoming extremely rich, so people instantly drop every inch of artistry because it's about fame and money. But you know, these things in the normal world with real people and real artists, you want to talk and discuss, because it does change a lot. Don't think, oh, I'm just doing this, it's better by definition. No, absolutely not. So these stays on the low, we like that. How about the other tracks? I'm just gonna now blaze through it. You know what we're gonna do for the ones that are high-end mids and stuff? We're probably gonna instantiate N73 everywhere, because, you know, that's what we do. So I'm gonna go quick link, and I'm gonna go N73, and it's, ooh, see, that's fast. Yeah, Mike says, your lawyers told me I have no legal right to opinions once I signed. Exactly. We're playing with fire, because there's people who got really burned with this. Second thing I want to point my finger on, away from legal stuff, which I'm the last person who can give you tutorials and live streams on. 0.1 milliseconds delay when you insert N73 at that level of oversampling. So this is good, because for me, I cannot use a lot of latency when composing and mixing, because I have lots of pedals and real synths. So latency is really bad when I do that. And that's why I like to mix with zero latency plugins of sorts. So just saying that these are falling within that category. So what is OH? Oh, okay, okay. This brings us to what is this doing. Now, 73 does not have the EQ low pass, so we gotta use core EQ. I find these to be a little bit too bright for my taste. I don't know, it just doesn't blend with the kick. I have no idea what I'm saying, but I want it to be beefier in the low mids. Let's try and see. Okay, I have no idea what kind of cue this is, but the 7-ish hertz, it's proposing it too much, and so it's kind of a bit more in. What if we go here? Okay, I don't even think there's frequencies down here. Something's changing in the harmonics, but we're not here to change that part, right? We did core EQ for a different reason. So what could we do here? I have no idea. On a Charleston, like on a hi-hat? I don't know. That's the worst way to instantiate this dude on. But I want to try and some saturating the mic knob. Now, again, it's very subtle, again and again and again, it's very subtle, but I have a specific idea of how this hi-hat has to be, because unfortunately I've listened to too much of this music for my own good. It's actually made me a better person, probably. It's just the hi-hat is so small, it's occupying such a small part of the frequency spectrum, yet it has that thing, right? I wish it was a little bit more reverby, a tiny little bit. So I'm gonna add, there's a super cool reverb that I love. It says a reverence, but it's probably gonna be too complicated. So I'm gonna try room work. I'm actually gonna try reverence because it's so good. So let's try this. It's like super simple. We got LA Studio I like actually, but Live Wooden Church. Let's try this. See how much it's regaining frequencies? So now we want to tame that because it's too much. So the scaling, the spatial, the tail, all that stuff, equalizer, let's try and see if we can go and tailor this part of the frequency response. I kind of like this church. It should be a bit darker, so maybe I could go somewhere else, but no. There, that's how you do it, probably. You see how easy it was to go like, oh, I can hear the reverb now. Well, that's when you carve and then you add the mix. It has to be subtle. All right, here we go. Now, without losing faith in our possibility of getting hired by this indie game developer, with cell phones ringing, emails about taxes to get paid, we keep focus on it and we keep going. What is this CH? I know what this CH is. Let's keep this yellow so I know it's not being done. Who's playing this part? All right, the sub. Sub, super important with top bass. Let's hear this top bass here. Here we go, here we go. This is incredibly important. The top bass is vital. We need to make this into more of a feature and needs to be way louder, in my opinion. So what I want to do is maybe equalize it first and give it some tone. So again, my preset has this auto gain, which I should probably remove. So let's try and go microphone saturation. You heard it? It goes up in volume, but it gets beefier. It's not just that. So we're more than equalizing it by just going on the Neve, brum, up. And that's why I have two 1073s, just the pre's, and just gaining stuff in on the Voyager as well. The Moog just completely opens up on one note. Feels almost like you're playing two of them on, you know, the same octave. Has that higher harmonic kind of thing of the transformer. This is really good. It's actually fun how it's working regardless. Maybe we need less bass because there's sub. I'm tempted to go 700 something. The filters are spot on. I really like how, like, this is sculpting this. So 220, I don't want it to go there, but just as an idea, right? That harmonic, the part, okay, CH says mic, it's closed hat, OH is open hat. Of course, in my opinion, it was Charleston, because that's how I call it when, you know, real people are playing it, which is not the case because we have robots for that now. Anyway, so this is good, and I would like to actually feature these in the effects and stuff. So top bass is nice, but we gotta listen to sub. So the two obviously have to work together. Maybe this is a little bit too loud now, but I really, really like how it sounds. So let's try and get the sub to play. Okay, so the police is gonna be at your place in like 2 minutes, so, you know, it was great having you here, but that's how I work. I get people, you know, in legal custody, and then by pushing subwoofer frequencies through your systems during live streams. And that's how I raise my competition, basically. But I also felt that probably we don't want to go that loud on the microphone because the preamp's adding more harmonics, which we're going to use for the top bass. But I want to raise the volume of this thing more. And I don't want it to fight the kick, right? Because it shouldn't. Okay, so for something like a video game part, we gotta replace the extreme lows with some kind of highs. So we're gonna do it with Core EQ again. First we set a volume at which it's like, okay, I can hear this thing. Okay, nice, then we engage the high pass. It feels good. Now we gotta try and find some areas that speak more on the upper harmonics, right? Wow, there's really nothing, okay. Okay, so the trick here might be to pass it on to higher low frequencies, which would be the 125-ish. Let's try and see there. It doesn't go as low, doesn't go there. Let's try with core comp low frequency, core EQ low frequency. Then if it doesn't work, I go with the 73. Okay, this could be good. We need less. Let me try with the 73. the 73 was able to pull it up, right? My sub is active and my annoying neighbors are here, so let's get busy a bit. They say like, all right, crank it on. That's right. You know, if we have to go, we have to go in style. Absolutely. So if we were shaping this without the mastery of you know, a good sound engineer, I'm lucky to know some that really helped me understand how these people think when they're doing lots of video games. They've done top class acts. They want to be in control and they can still carve your stuff out, but generally don't overdo it because they're still able to push it out of what you're composing rather than cutting it out, which might be harder because you're lowering a lot of the real estate of dynamic range. So I'm trying to replace it with a cheaper bass. That makes sense, like a headphone game bass, you know, bass that you can enjoy without the risk of saying, okay, I have a headset that has virtual bass and now it's too much, stuff like that. I know it's not artistically amazing, but it's more kiss ass, right? You know, it's probably gonna be liked a bit better. So the 35, the 350 hertz, we pulled out a lot of that. The Neve did it, so it has that energy, right? Maybe with the upper harmonics here, let's try the microphone thing. Okay, I'm gonna keep it wrong here. I'm gonna try and find a way here on the sub to carve it. But with the BBN 73 like that. There's no highs, I just tried it and they were like, ha, nice try. We're not there. We left in Mike's session a long time ago. So I like that though. Now with the top bass, however, the thing has to work. So we have two chances. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we could carve some highs, although I think it shouldn't have that many. But we haven't used this part, so we could fiddle with that. If the top bass is contrasting, if it's working, it's fine. But you know, we go peak mode and maybe we try and find a spot where the two things talk better. We gotta make them work better. So bear with me, we do this. Okay, now we rebalance them because now I see where the two parts were going. My bad. I mean, it's still where I want to go, but I don't want them to fight that much. Right? There's songs that just have that, right? So we gotta make it more interesting. I think I wanna distort this a little bit. So maybe Smash or Booty, right? On the sub, this is gonna be bad, but maybe not. Let's try this. I keep making mistake of using Studio One shortcuts on Nuendo. The best part was I muted the sub and it's like it doesn't work anymore. It's missing something. But with it, it was like, can I hear the sub? I don't know. These I would leave on my headphones this way and I would keep going. So now we have some parts down, the overheads, perks, we gotta find them. They're not playing. I wanna do dub pads. All right, here is where we start pumping in a lot of mids, I would say, because we want to fill things up, right? So I'm probably going to try and hear this. This one is the one that goes up and down. Yeah, so this has some fluctuation, which I want to keep, but I thinking like 700, this should be nice. You hear the harmonic, right? Not that much, but just a little bit of a hug when this is coming. You could automate it so that it goes up in volume, just ease up the 220. This would be nice, but we need to do it for the whole song. Laziness, not getting paid enough. Mike has no saying in it anyway. We don't do it. You know, and it might be you do it and it's like, I don't know. Never underestimate the good efforts gone vain. So nice, chord 3. Let's bypass this compressor to hear it because I don't want to hear the pumping. I think we're increasing our volume so the sidechain is working more. We gotta ease it out maybe. Right, so we know it's that. What you gotta be safe about is that it's that thing. It's this one. I'm gonna keep it here. So, thank you, Doug. Thank you for being here. Don't worry, it's gonna get recorded. So, but you know, thanks for being here because it was nice. It's better live. It's more fun. So we're increasing that. We're getting too much. I'm gonna ease out the ratio. I'm gonna save these as B, just so we remember how we had it, but I'm probably thinking 3 to 4, what is it, 304 to 1, it's too much. And now you might be saying, but now you completely killed it, it doesn't do it anymore. Hold on, we go bypass and then we engage it. Absolutely. And I've removed lows from the sub a bit more, but we're gonna do some compression afterwards anyway. It just has that thing without being over pushy. Now we got 247 milliseconds of hold. It's a lot. It would be tempting to play it safer. I wanna keep that mechanical feeling for whatever reason. It's our sound, so who cares? So chord 3, chord 2, and the R's chord we gotta do. Okay, this one has the lower harmonics that we didn't have from chord 3 or from dub pad. Important, we gotta do this. So let's try and find it. It could be 350. Super important. These were the frequencies we were missing. Thank you very much, Mike, for putting them in because, well, we heard them, but they were not pillowy that much, right? I'm not gonna touch the other knobs. This is something I said about the 105 as well. Don't touch stuff just because it's there. Don't do it. 350 is fine. I wanna move to the second problem, which is compressing. This thing, which is actually this thing, has to be compressing and staying alive a bit more. Let me try something pretty insane, like 260 and then come up with a mix. Hey, Stars and Guitars. Thank you for being here, you know, yeah. Doing stuff, doing more in the future as well. So we're compressing a low mids pad right now, which is not compressing because our signal's low enough. So I'm gonna stay at -20 and then crank the input. Okay. This is surprisingly nice with this strong compressor, but I wasn't expecting that. I was trying to get a blend and then mix it in, but it's quite nice, but I can't do it 100%. It's gonna be too in or out. I want it to be floating. So very slow release, just a support thing. So let me try and ease out the mix. I love this. Hear me out. We're gonna do something like, notice I'm not working with send retards. There's no reason, but I wanna keep doing this with the mix knobs. A second one, we try and crush it and keep it very, very, very mild. I have no idea if it's gonna work. I do something like this with the Fatso on the keyboards, the real one or the plugin. I have a real one, and it's amazing at just leveling the field and keeping a signal there. This one has a bit more attitude, so it's crunching, but still. Doesn't have to be 100%, right? We go maybe 10, 5. Now, did we get carried away? Master bypass on these two. Let's hear it again, actually on the 3. No, it's fine, because before it's getting in more, it feels more obtrusive before than actually being in here. Now I'm gonna build the effects later, so this is nice, but I liked it. That's it. Now we got, I just took note, I saw the closed hat coming up. There we need the 7-2. You're hearing how the things are all working sort of like in the frequency spectrum. That's a very cheap thing to say, it's the truth. See how we kind of like that 7.2 now because it was not present there? It's, you know, that's it, not touching it, it's okay. I like it that bright actually. What is it? Perk and shaker we didn't do. Okay, this is also another one that is gonna get processed a lot. What are we gonna do here? I'm gonna copy the reverb that I had on the overheads. Let's hear it. I'm actually gonna put it before the EQ as if it was part of the sound. Now, no, hold on. I should not close the instance of the plugin because you're like, whoa, wait. Wait, where are you going? You know, like teachers that just draw something on the chalkboard and then go like, and so, you know, and they erase it as they go. And you're like, what's up? The physics class used to be like that. You know, draw with one hand, erase it with the other. Just people can't really understand. So, interface is on. We really sacrificed that sound. So, and by sacrificed, I mean these. The shakers sounded like this before. It's very stereo, very outside my ears. It's a feature, it's a sound. It's very tempting to be persuaded by its attitude, right? Especially because I didn't write the song, Mike did. But he lost all legal. In our virtual example, he lost all legal claims that he can, you know, just ask for. Like the song is getting changed. This effect, even if it wasn't a video game part underground, like in the sense of being used while you're playing the game, is nice, but it's too obtrusive somehow. So it's a feature, and the artist might say, okay, we do it that way, I want it very prominent, very out there. In my case, what I'm doing is it's going to butter the experience of the sound effects just because it's so non-pitched very, well, it is probably pitch, but it sounds like noise, just flat noise. So it's easy to make mistakes. If it's low volume, it's gonna be easy to have it poke out. It's gonna be a mess to try and find the right volume, and people might mistake it for different stuff. So it's really a question of, it's gonna bother the play experience, right? The gaming experience. This one, honestly, I also personally like it better because it's such a, you can't really hear where it is, but it's added a depth level. So I really like this. 82%, I completely carved the highs, so the reverb's not really emphasizing things on the high spectrum, but it's working on the halo, of which I have no idea whether that exists or not, you know, but it felt nice. And I thought I would add a little bit, and then I was like, wow, like I had this perspective thing by the time I reached 82. So now it sounds with a little bit more 7.2 kilohertz, sounds like this. Did I add stuff? No, hold on. Did I add it? No, okay, so it's placed on 7.2 kilohertz because I have it on the startup. We didn't EQ anything, but we're passing through the channel itself. So maybe something's going on, the EQ is on. The most important step was the shaker, because the 7.2 I added on the closed hat. That's the thing. So now, here are these reverb part. It's a taste thing, but I want to go on a limb and say, this is the difference between you have tracks in Ableton and it's a song. It's so into, like it's a sine wave into it. Like in my headphones, it sounds amazing. So that's all I'm gonna say. It's my headphones. So I'm gonna listen to it. And I like the vibe of it. So I would like to process it. I would not even touch it, go. Notice how I keep my sort of Mojo compressor there, just to see how it's reacting. So far, so good. What are we missing? Chord 3, perk. The perks are here. I'm actually gonna do it in the final part. Let's see. So this is a part maybe where the kick we wanted to tone down, but let's keep it where we are. Where's the perk? Okay, I see where we are. There's this resonant thing that I might try and carve right off the bat. It's actually nice though. I think it's what, 900 hertz? Not quite, hold on. No, actually, yes. Why don't I hear it that much? Because it's basically, all it is, it's 900 hertz. That's why I was like, why doesn't it change? I was just raising the volume of the thing because it's, okay, let's try and see if we can find a place to make it less resonant. It's tough, huh? Okay, these I want to add to kind of just not have it that much, but just to hint at our hearing. So the lawyers, Mike says, the lawyers are now informing me you wrote the song. History is getting rewritten, yeah. All right, so there's really nothing there. I've just cranked the highs for no reason. Sometimes you do it and that's a big mistake because maybe later on the track changes, has a little bit more highs, and then you find like, what is this sound? Where is it coming from? Same deal, you know what? We're gonna do reverence right after everything this time, maybe before the EQ, like if it was recorded like this. Okay, not bad. Tweaking the wrong thing. We got a really mojo-y, that's why you don't need to use 100 millions of reverbs. once you got the thing that has the style, I still want it low, but okay, maybe microphone. It's insane how the Neve can push it while Core EQ can't. For some reason, it's a harmonics maybe thing, I don't know, or maybe it's just sheer volume. It does it. However, it's not really doing what I want. Maybe the filter will help. Yeah, you know what? It sounds fine, but we need to compress this again and again and again. It's the key word today. It needs to pillow more. I would use a delay here as well, like to intensify it, but let's try and do it with like old school compression. See, it's kind of getting there. You know what? Also, a panner would work. Auto pan. Rate, let's do it by hand, maybe. These, I love this. You can see where. You hear how now the kick is really up there now that we recarved some of the stuff that was pushing too much. Okay, I still like this. I think it's something I'm gonna do with effects, or maybe with Burger, or maybe Smash. Why not? I have no idea whether or not this is gonna work. Smash is quite simple. It is nice. It's taking everything we've done and I got it. I like where it is. It does not have to be pushed down, but that was cool, huh? Now, because we're not in the mid bass, it sounds different, but I don't want that action there, so we gotta rebalance the volume. It's gotta be there in the city, right? In the blurry part. Love the compression and the auto panner. It really styles the sound. Thank you very much. It's debatable. Like, I want to be in a point where people say, you know what, I don't like it, but I hear what you want to do. And this is not in Mike's song, because Mike wrote it. I didn't. You know, it's a great song. It feels nice. See how much of an atmosphere is there. I'm just enhancing it. I'm not adding anything. It's just moving things. But it has to vibe. It has to have a vibe. People don't care for how right the fantastic snare, elusive Holy Grail snare sound that all memes say, like people are trying to get the best snare sound for years. It doesn't exist. It doesn't make any sense. I know I'm beating a dead horse because we know it. We know it. It has to have a sound. It has to have a sound. It has to feel like this is the story you have. people sit down and hear you play and improvise, whether it's jazz, whether it's electronic stuff, because you feel a story. You gotta hit them, musically, with the story, with the feel, with the strong traits. They don't want to hear all the, I thought you would like it this way. Don't do stuff I thought you would like it this way. I know who you are. I made it so you're gonna like it. Cook the way you want to cook it. People are gonna say, I don't like this, but wow, this is really good. Like, wow, I can feel the recipe is real, right? It's the same thing. So now that I brushed my silvers, thank you very much, I gotta say something important as well. See how without every track on, with different combinations of the track, it floats and it flies? This is very important. I do this all the time with my stuff, and I think like, oh, this is nice. And it came because I had a project in which I had to print stems, because the game engine was supposed, it actually never came out, was supposed to bring in elements depending on the music engine was part of the game experience as well. So I had to print stems and they had to be loopable and stuff. This is a great exercise I had, like, would this work if this happens? Would this work without that part? And if you write a good song, like Mike did in this case, it's really helping to unbias ourselves and say, you know what, let's try and angle it from a bass and shaker perspective. And he never fails to say, it's a good song. It could be the arrangement. It could be that the developer says, why don't you also write a part in which you only have this? And you wouldn't believe, I'm talking a lot, but trust me, this will pay in the long run, because out of this one song, you can write 3, 4, 5, 10 sketches. And there might be one that the normal developer person is capable to grasp and say, this is what I like, do more like this, or print me this and we use it. For us, it's always like, the more I add, the more they're gonna hear the style. People who are not composers and musicians, they don't think that way. They don't hear it, in a sort of a dissected way. You might be able to print a different version that fits the song. Some movies have recurring themes which change in just how many elements are there, and they're still perfectly working, right? So that was important to say. I know I'm talking a lot, but it's good stuff. Trust me. Or it doesn't work, whatever, we're here having fun. But I'm speaking from my heart. It's really, really gonna be important, and it's gonna give you a lot of edge. Now, I've left the best for last, have I? Actually, no, I haven't. I mean, yes, I have, but it doesn't play here. It's the Rs chord, my Juno 6. Playing mostly everywhere. It has to. All right, so let's hear this by itself. Keys are 600 hertz-ish, which Neve obviously didn't put, API didn't either, but it's in that range, so. Hear that, for the first time we're cranking the highs on the 73 and it stands up to its reputation. It's not sounding bad, it's adding so much air. I like this. Now the question is, do we need these elements? They sound good by itself. But let's try and go. I actually had VCAs, but I'm just old and I forget to use them. Oh no, wait. I have too many VCAs. V drums, V bass, V guitars. All right, we just need these 3. I actually would need another one for all effects. VSFX. No, okay, I have it. So this one's wrong. This has to go here, and these ones has got to go here. Pardon me, it has to be right. So now we got 2 tracks here, so I want to have just the lows and mids. C, for example, with the other stuff, needs to be dark, not bright. So, I don't know, let me try with the high frequencies. tempting and easy to make wrong, this. How about we build another pillowy parallel compression thing to have it float more? That was, I wasn't expecting that. I would really hope you say like, holy, when the kick hit, it was like, something happened like emotionally. It was like very like, you're looking far ahead and then somebody really hugs you close and you're not expecting that level of nearness. It was, wow. I like that. I mean, it's kudos to Mike for writing that, because the moment I just didn't know I was there. So I got a genuine surprise on camera. I went completely backwards with it. I made it darker. I made it back to the 700 where it was, sort of. I think it's fine where it is. Now with that feeling, that level of surprise and emotion, I am officially at the point where I'm afraid to ruin it. So I would do save and I would do V2 if this was, you know, a real session stuff. It's good for me when I get to a point where I'm afraid to make it worse, because it's probably gonna be very hard tomorrow if I listen to it to say, wow, this was really crappy and I need to redo it. I think, you know, I'm now afraid to do it. We got some stuff to do, I think, still. Perk. Okay, I see what that is. We could play with the automation here, maybe, and not have the high kick. Let me try and do, I don't know. It could even be cut, honestly. You know, if I knew how to do it, of course. Probably yes. I would cut this and make the lower parts even lower, if that makes sense. Definitely. So let's cut it here and make this part just lower in gain, like this. Hold on. Right? Yes. Like lower here. Lower gain. Lower gain, please. Yes. Lower gain here. That's clear. All right. Sounds good. What I would do is actually I would automate it. Okay, so Mike says, this is interesting. My concern would be that chord 2 and 3, which is a copy of 2 but different, plus Rs chord with no top end, you got not enough clarity. Okay, awesome. Good. Mike says, it might happen that the Rs chord plus chord 2 and 3, which have been born from copies of themselves, would not have enough highs, right? So the good thing is we might have lost perspective on what needs to be high and low or whatever. So what I usually do is, because of tonal control, let me see where we are. That's a meme you're probably gonna make, right? Like, you know, it's pretty much in the ballpark for where they asked us to be. And so having somebody who says like, this is where I want it, makes it like, I don't care, you know, it's bright enough. But the lows that I see higher there, I wouldn't worry about. I know you've asked me, oftentimes Mike especially, like, I don't know how to use tonal balance control. This shows me it's okay. I don't need to, just because the low mids aren't there, you actually would see the lows explode if we were really far. So the fact that we're silver lining the top part doesn't matter. It's okay. No problemos. Just wrong. Just say. So the question is like, I think we're there, but he might say like, well, the chord 1 and 2 are not playing, and he would be right. So we go here, and okay, this part clearly has 2, 3, and R chord. So maybe here we're overboard. Okay, Mike also says, for future audience, I have, he says, a well-established habit of too much high-end. That's where something like tonal band control can help, absolutely. So, but this is the part where all three are playing, so maybe we have too much now. I'm kind of pretty sexy about how I got it really in the middle. I mean, people are gonna say like, this is all staged because we're floating. It doesn't have to be straight there. But for me, being the low mids and high mids, this is really, really good, because low mids and high mids, everybody's gonna hear. Pretty much the same, although very different, pretty much the same in terms of consistency, and a lot of the parts that in low volume, people who put the music to 10% in a video game, the low mids and high mids to me are always where, I mean, the synthesizers play for the most harmonic parts, right? So I would keep it there. There's still vibe we could do. I was thinking effects are missing, like some delay and glitchy stuff. Now I kind of don't want it to be overcomplicated. So I would say this is fine. Why all effects are missing, let me try and put there, but I don't think we're using any effect here. This is a bus, again, I have for extreme stuff. Do we want to try and do some effects because we're talking games and stuff? What if people want to have it more overcomplicated? Absolutely, but let's try and do some bus compression. The first thing I would do is place the 73 here first, maybe, and we engage master bus. And let me try and just go bypass and engage. I don't dislike it, however, in my attempt at not messing it up, I honestly would not turn it on now. I like what it does, but it feels to me, and this is a compliment I'm gonna make to Kit plugins, it feels a little bit too real. So that's, I mean, the best compliment you can give them. This genre, I wouldn't pass through a console. It feels like I'm using too much analog gear. I can't believe I'm saying this without getting paid. I want my Ferrari. But anyway, no, it's true. Like it has that transformer kind of vibe. And because it's feeling realistic, I wouldn't turn it on. Does it make any sense? So this is the point where I would be afraid, as I said, to ruin it. How about we do some EQ and compression for the bus? Can core compressor do bus compression? I don't know. I have it on 33, 152, little bit of body. It worked before, it's not gonna maybe work now. And here what I have, just filters. So 30 Hertz and 20 kilohertz. Let's try this. The rest is completely flat. Okay. This one sounds good to me. The compressor, however, was on, so now we live with it. Absolutely, I love this. Let me try and find something even more mojo-y. We have plan A in case we, or plan B in case we mess it up. It's sounding off tempo to me somehow. It's just bouncing against the sidechain. I'm gonna go back to B. You don't know how many times I've pressed the arrow to go to B instead of, so it's actually erasing what I wanted. Be careful. I know you're better than I am on this stuff. It's pushing it to us, right? It's a little bit sexier. I'm gonna keep it there. Before the EQ goes into the compression, I wanna try and play with some lows. So actually lows. I know we're going past what tonal balance control has. I'm keeping it on. I usually would have it off. Let me try and see if we can rebalance stuff a little bit. I'm thinking 220 is the thing. Let's try this. Saturation, maybe not even saturating, like clean, but the curve of it, right? I like this. Now let's find something that we don't like with a very sharp cue and pinpoint it. Don't go plus 20, everything will sound bad. Go like 3 and try and see if there's a spot you don't like. It's beautiful because we can't see any curve at all. So I'm gonna sweep from 3.6 to 7 in the hope to find something that really sticks out with just a 3 dB, which is a lot already, of increase. Fun enough, I don't hear that much. It's a very tight cue. Let me try this. Actually, no, the opposite. I need something very tight. Do you hear the notes? There's notes here. We're like silver lining a scale. If we find a note that is not in the tune, we just carve it out. Could be nice to have it, like it's gonna open up the perspective of it. So 1.62, probably we can do this. Let me see, 1.62, flat there, minus 5.6. Should sound the same because they're the same bands, but then we can find a different one, which could be 3.24, 3240. This. Now the real game, we go bypass and engage, we try and feel if there's an actual change in perception, like is it easier to understand? Oh, this isn't registered though. It would be 1. We said 16200. Right. So hold on, because then we went 344. So it would be 2. What is it, like 1517? We're there. All right. It doesn't need to be exactly the same. Well, if you push it, you can hear it afterwards, right? I think it's okay. It's very, very sharp. Now, I like where it is. I don't think we need, what did I do here? A little bit of 700 to 20. Okay, not touching it, that's fine. There's something else I wanted to do. Maybe the effects, some bus for the reverbs. Do I have effects of sorts in here? No. Okay, this could be tamed, like molded. This is a question, like, was this put to give some techno style dust? Then this would be the way to go. Make it a little bit beefier, have the highs, but carve all the 7.2, which is what you really, really, really feel, right? This could be, I liked it how it was. Maybe it was a little bit MIDI. Gotta be careful, because again, this is where you lose it. You know, you maybe want to change it for the better. For what? You know, I liked it how it was before. So, you know, word of warning, like this. I'm gonna keep these where they are, but we're gonna play with the effects. We're gonna write 2 effects. Let me see where the effects channel are in here. We're gonna do just 2 effects, okay? We don't load anything in. And we do mono, maybe, no, stereo. I don't know, I have no idea yet. And then we go all effects, or a mix just there, who cares? For now, create inside folder, we call it effects. 2 of them, add, all right. Effects 1 and effects 2. And I want to have a sort of a glitchier delay of sorts. So something that compresses the sound, delays it and crashes it, and then puts it somewhere. So, all right, softness, thank you very much. So, you know, you can catch up on the rest that's recorded. I'm gonna do this and then wrap it up, and then it's done. So Mike also says it's a genre thing, so there's a bed of white noise, absolutely. So let's try and design this with effects 1, so that we have something that floats around here. So I want to use Bourier, for example, that crashes it a lot, and then maybe a delay, and then we can close this guy, and then a beat crusher, I don't know. This is really good. Hold on. Let me get reverence as well, reverb here. Wow, I mean, reverence is insane. I love the impulses that it has. This is good. Let me delay this thing. Let me try and find something. I'm thinking if I want to have some kind of actual flanging effect, frequency modulation, something like that. We're getting lost. So much stuff in here. How about maybe an autopan that we used before? They were always nice. Right. This was sort of the intention of it, so I'm gonna keep this, and we can try and put tons of things. See how it's defining itself now. Okay, I like this. I'm trying to do stuff without knowing the shortcuts. The second one I want to do is more of, again, some sort of, maybe this one's quite good. Let me try, however, to smash it. Nice, this is exactly what I wanted, like something that pillows things without too much. So this could help the effects too, just to even it out. More effect, less fader. All right, so when the closed hat comes in, which I really like, we bump up in highs, and the temptation would be like, okay, well, carb it because it has to be right. I actually don't think we need to. It didn't feel out of place, but I want to try and see if I go lower in volume, more with effects. We got these effects too with the smasher that just adds average without bringing up the tones too much. Here. Yes, it worked, because we moved from having a lot of peak transient energy to a lower peak energy but a higher average, because Smasher, these I really like. I didn't even know it came out because I'm not too up to date with things. Good, it sounds really good, like a high, like they planned it somehow and just cranked it up, mixed at 100. It has the perfect sort of pillowy thing. So that's it. I'm just gonna press play and we're gonna listen to it, because why not? I have no idea what I'm gonna do next. I mean, honestly, nothing else. Print it, go, Breakwell limiter, whatever level we are, I would probably check that we are loud enough so people can put it in sort of a mixing scenario, whatever, in production, and it sounds enticing without them pushing things too much. I'm looking at everything we've done, test generator span, this stuff we don't need, so I would clean it. Stuff we haven't used. There's a lot of plugins, but there's also not many plugins. Like, we haven't used every knob possible, right? So what else? Maybe another, like I have this tape thing, which I'm not gonna use. Let me try and use Bourier. This is weird though, but let's try and use Bourier as a enhancer. I'm gonna put it red, it doesn't change. So that concludes the thing. You saw how I didn't actually automate it because it wasn't armed for automation in touch mode and stuff. And I wasn't following the arrangement by looking at the waveforms and seeing where things are. Also, you would do one thing at a time. The concept of it is that really make it come out alive, right? It just gave it movement. Sometimes I went overboard, you would just redo it, but the feeling is there. It just feels better. It feels more alive, bringing in some of the effects and stuff. It just helps the transitions and things, and you don't need to write more parts. They're all there. Just keep floating with them and, you know, get lost in it, jam with it. This is not played, but it feels as if I was playing the thing, you know? It feels coherently like a musical instrument. You got these online, this digital version of your mixer, and it still has an interaction with the tracks. So as long as you hear it, feel it, and it translates to movements, doesn't matter if it's a mouse or whatever. It might be more complicated to do, but it works. So I would print the automation passes, keep it where it is to just give it the life it deserves, and then print it and send it to the game developer and says like, all right, we got this. It's in the ballpark of what you asked us frequency-wise to be. Let me know if you need different parts, from different cuts, and then from there you would get, maybe this sketch works. This is more than a sketch because it's like a full-fledged song. But, you know, if it doesn't work, keep it there, keep going. Maybe it will work for somebody else, maybe in a year from now, maybe 5 years from now. So that's a different story. We'll talk about that in other streams for sure. Thank you very much for being with me. And this will be recorded. Maybe you'll be watching this when it's already recorded. And see you definitely soon for more stuff, more videos. It was great having you here. Thanks to Mike Reynolds for sending me this track. And again, see you each other. We're gonna see each other. That's how it said. We're gonna see each other soon in either a new stream or in the videos that I've tracked. More information with the studio that I'm building, the new room that I'm building. It's going to be a couple months. Remember, I have a Patreon going on. This stuff is possible because there's people paying as much as €9 per month to keep this reinvested in time, video editing, resources, to go leaps and bounds beyond what the other stuff is being done. And I don't want to surpass it. It's just, that's who I am. That's my angle of how I would do it. It's in the choir of all the people who explain stuff, and maybe from here and from the others, you can take other stuff and make it into your own method, right? Thank you very much for staying with me. Ciao.